Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderful episode of Help for the Guildless. My name is Cole Spire, and I am here to usher you through the quagmire of geekdom once again. I have a couple of guests with me tonight, and this is going to be part of the documentation of going to the Los Angeles Open for Magic the Gathering. For those of you that don't know what Magic the Gathering is, it is a card game. For those of you who do know what Magic the Gathering is, you know it's worse than drugs. So, I'm going to let my companions introduce themselves. To my left, I have Brockus.
What?
Across from Brockus, we have with us again Wendy.
I was going to say, am I giving my code name or my regular name?
And across from me, we have another newcomer by the name of Cody. So, I want to thank you for listening. Now, what this is going to be, like I said, it's going to document our trip to the LA Open, which is actually a very large tournament hosted by a company called Star City Games. There is going to be an estimated 800 people at this tournament, and we are going to be 4 of those 800. We're going to be leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow to head to LA. So, my first question is going to go for the newbies that have never been there before. I've been there before, Cody has been there before, Wendy has not, and neither has Brockus. So, the first question is to you two. What do you anticipate is going to happen?
There's a lot of pros there. I'm not certain I'll even come up against one. It's iffy first round, so we might. I've been averaging 3-1 at Friday Night Magic, so I think I'll do decent, but I don't expect to be in the top 100. But that's keeping it real, so...
Yeah, we keep it real up in this motherfucker.
Keeping it real. Brockus? Since we kind of dumped this on you, like... Last minute.
I honestly don't ever really do well in tournaments, so I'm not expecting much out of me. I am hoping, at the very least, that it's partly due to me being distracted by some seriously large nerd boobs. I don't know.
Oh, there's plenty of large nerd boobs. Most of them are not on women.
I expect corset. Oh, you just made me sad. I've already got my own pair of nerd boobs. I don't need more.
You don't have nerd boobs anymore.
Okay, yeah, so they basically shrunk since I actually started doing random push-ups here and there. But still, come on.
All right. So, now this is for the 3 of you. You guys have been playing Magic for a while. You guys know what the term meta means. What do you think the meta is going to be like at the LA Open? Start with Cody.
Pass.
I expect there to be a lot of aggro. We saw lots of red-green monsters, mid-range, tons of mid-range. There seems to be a lot of quick decks, not as much of the control-based, but a lot of mid-range.
Okay. Brockus?
I'm with Wendy on the aggro. I'm expecting a lot of aggro decks to be played there, but I think the colors we're probably going to see more than anything that it's just going to keep coming up. Most likely going to be some patriotic colors out there, red, whites, and blues, all over the place.
Back to Cody.
Yeah, Brockus is right. I gotta say the American is going to be very high at the tournament.
Now, for those for those of you in the know, red, white, and blue have been dubbed Jeskai. It's no longer American. For those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about with colors, Magic the Gathering is based off of 5 colors. Red, white, black, blue, and green, which are representations of mana. I'm not going to get into everything, because it will be a very, 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 very long podcast for that. But there are groups that have names. Red, white, and blue is Jeskai. White, black, and red is Mardu. green and blue is Simic. Green, blue, and black is Sultai. White, black, and blue is Esper. They name things. Now, since I'm the only one that did my homework, and I actually watched the Houston Open last weekend, I know for a fact there's a new deck out there that isn't an aggressive deck, and it's only red and green. And it's predicted to be there with a large grouping. Lots of people are going to be playing this deck. And it's red-green devotion. So, I have another question, and this is for the returning tournament player. You remember how you did last time, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what your record was?
4-6.
4-6. So that's 4 wins, 6 losses, 0 ties. The rounds have increased this time. There are 15 rounds. How do you hope to do this time?
If I can walk away with more than 6 wins, I'll be happy.
Okay. So the way that the tournament goes is there's going to be 9 rounds on day 1, and there's going to be 6 rounds on day 2, and then you cut to the top 8 players. What we're doing right now is we are playtesting our decks. What that means is we're going through and we're playing against each other to see how different hands interact with certain things, keeping things we're not supposed to, pretty much just seeing how our deck will interact with the different combinations that can come up. We are each playing a different type of deck. I am playing Esper Control, which I have dubbed Esper Super Friends because there is 11 Planeswalkers in it, which are permanents that you can summon to the field that are like allies. Cody is playing a white-blue
heroic deck.
Okay.
Which means that
He likes cock.
anytime a certain creature
Not as much as you do.
Anytime a certain creature is targeted, it gets an ability. It triggers an ability that allows this creature to get bigger. Wendy is playing a
Sultai control deck with lots of planeswalkers.
which the colors are black, green, and blue, and Brockus is playing
I don't even know what to call it.
Mardu.
Mardu. Okay.
Mardu with black, white, and red. He's playing Mardu Warriors. So,
Because I am gay.
like I said, we are getting up at 5 o'clock, leaving by 6. I'd like to just hear what your guys' thoughts are.
Dirty thing. Thoughts on what exactly?
Just the experience.
Well, I've always enjoyed, actually playing in tournaments and stuff. I never went to a Magic one, and I've never gone to a Yu-Gi-Oh one. Of all the card games I've ever actually, been associated with, I did go to several Pokemon tournaments. You have no idea how many times I said, oh God, why? In my head, walking around those things, because there are people there that make me question my fandom towards anything remotely nerdy. Because I'm just like, so experience-wise, I'm hoping to get something new from Magic. I doubt I'm going to get much of a difference, but probably not so many damn kids running around pissing me off.
Pokemon. All right.
Do not ask. I had friends who were obsessed.
Wendy.
Well, starting very casual play in 2001, it's gradually gotten more competitive, I guess. Like in 2010, we just started doing FNMs. I think I'm ready to take it to the next level with the Open. I'm sure I'm gonna get decimated, but I'm excited, and I hope to gain some new knowledge and experience with it.
It's good. It's good.
Excitement of decimation. Awesome.
Awesome.
Cody.
I was there last year. It was fun. I like going. I was looking forward to it all year. And really, I'm just not even looking to place any higher than 100. I mean that's setting the bar pretty high, but I'm just going there for the experience.
All right. Well said, all of you. Now, I want us to all go around, and I want you guys to really think about this. I already know Brockus's answer. I want you to think of your favorite Magic card. And I want you to tell me why it's your favorite Magic card. And what, of course, the Magic card is. So, I already know what yours is, Brockus, so I'm going to start. We will do yours later. Cody, I want to know what your favorite Magic card is.
Going back to the days of Avacyn Restored, when I played a human token deck, it would have to be Champion of the Parish.
Okay. Describe what it is for people who don't know.
1 white mana, he's a human soldier, and anytime a human enters the battlefield after he's already been dropped, he gets a 1/1 counter.
So there's a lot of versatility from Avacyn Restored, because there was a lot of humans played in that.
Oh, yeah.
Wendy.
Sigarda. I know you all hate me for her. For those of you who don't know, I run this wonderful EDH commander deck with Sigarda as my commander.
Piece of shit. Sorry.
She cannot be touched with because she has hexproof.
Describe what hexproof is.
She can't be the target of spells or abilities, and
that
her
your
second ability.
Opponents control.
Yes, that my opponents control. Her second ability is that I can't be forced to sacrifice creatures as well. So it has to be a board wipe that specifies all or each and not targets. I enchant the shit out of her and it has tons of lifelink, and people hate me for that deck. But she is closely backed by the new Nissa. I really enjoy this new Nissa for the fact that she brings out the 4/4 elemental as your land that's already out. I mean, unless you decide to do it on the land that you just dropped. But it comes out swinging right away. It's basically a creature with haste. And then her ultimate is just digging out as many lands as you possibly can. And that leads to so many troubles, like dropping Ugin or, just swinging with lots of creatures. It's fun stuff.
Alright, and like I said, I will get to Brockus last. My favorite, and this is going way back, to Zendikar and Worldwake. I know it's not that far and that long ago. Well, no, it goes back to Lorwyn. My favorite is Jace Beleren. I'm a control player. Jace, I know a lot of people don't like him. Jace Beleren is a planeswalker. He costs 2 blue, 1 colorless, and he makes you draw. He lets you draw extra cards, and in a card game, playing against other people, extra cards are extremely, extremely powerful. He has had many incarnations since then. I would like to see a resurgence of the original Jace. I think he could do a lot of help and a lot of damage in the current meta. Now, when I get to Brockus, I have to forewarn him not to be too loud, because I don't want to break my microphone or your guys' ears for listening.
I understand.
So, Brockus, please tell us your favorite Magic card and why.
So, it's called Rakdos Cackler. It's a simple 1/1 drop, and it is basically just a cost of 1 mana, either black or red. The thing about this little beauty that I love so much is it has a wonderful game mechanic called Unleash. Basically, when you summon this creature to the battlefield, you can choose to give a 1/1 counter to it. If you do this, it goes from a 1/1 to a 2/2, obviously. However, the drawback is they cannot actually block. Regardless, my Rakdos deck was one of my favorite decks that I've ever actually created. My reasoning for loving this little beauty, however, is the catchphrase that I built from using it so much. And here we go. Unleash the Cackler! So, yeah, anytime you ever saw me in a game or a tournament playing this particular deck, that is what you would eventually hear, most likely within the first couple of
And
rounds.
might I add, for several months after you stopped playing, people were still saying it.
That's because I was epic at it. I mean, how can you not scream that anytime you play that thing? That was the reason why it was my favorite. Now, don't get me wrong, Chandra is definitely right behind because of her beautiful, oh, go ahead and look into your deck. You can play that card if you want to. I love Chandra's effects. She's a beautiful planeswalker. But nothing will ever top Unleash the Cackler.
He used to say this so loud. We played in a mall. I was at one end of the mall one night, and I heard that come from the area where we used to play.
Well, for God's sakes, will you just listen to me for once and unleash the Dan Cackler?
All right. Like I said, we were playtesting. Well, Wendy and Brockus are playtesting against each other. Cody is waiting for me because we're doing this.
I'm being mana screwed right now.
I am willing to answer any of your guys' questions, if you have any.
Gosh. What are you Wow. Okay.
And Brockus just won his first game.
With a deck I had never played with before. This is amazing. Yeah, I think I'll be taking this to the tournament. We were questioning this back and forth. What is your favorite color combination?
My favorite... Alright, what archetype are we talking?
Honestly, I don't really give a crap. If you want to go with control, what is your
Control
favorite
is white,
combo?
black, blue. Esper is the best control out there.
White, black, blue, okay.
You have the counter ability with blue, you have the devastation with black, and you have power and life gain with white. So it's kind of a really good combination of all of them.
It's just pure dickery. I gotcha.
Yeah, on that note, I've been called an ass quite a few times playing the decks that I play. On top of that, there was a really good analogy of what Esper Control really is. At the beginning of the game, you destroy your opponent's hopes, and then at the end of the game, you make them cry. Which the decks do really well.
He's done this to me before, Esper.
I thought that was little Anthony's Nicol Bolas deck.
Grixis Control is another good
He just
one.
made you crap yourself.
I cried so many times playing it.
Yeah.
I hated that deck. Okay, what about aggro? When you go aggro?
Believe it or not, green-red. Green-red has this nice combination of aggression with the red, and the green gets the ramp, so you can get your big fatties out real quickly. It's really not fair having 6 mana on turn 3 and going, oh look, a 4/4 dragon that you can do nothing about, and I'm going to swing constantly.
I'm going to smack you with my dick.
Yes. In essence, that's kind of what you're doing. But yeah, I really like red-green in the aggro combination. Now, combo, well, it depends on the combo deck. There is Jeskai Ascendancy combo out right now, which there are 5 different incarnations of this. But it's not my favorite combination of colors. I would have to say Jeskai has a lot of good combos out there. Mid-range, I would have to say, is black, green, and white, which is Abzan, which has a lot of good power and ramp behind it. Anything else?
Other than Planeswalkers, what's your favorite card?
Other than Planeswalkers, my favorite card would have to be the good old-fashioned Counterspell, which they can't reprint right now for use in Standard because it would destroy the game. 2 blue to counter anything your opponent can do.
Yeah, because counter never destroyed the game in the past. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and summon this creature. Nope. I'm going to go ahead and play this. Nope.
Yes, but the kicker is only having to do it off of 2 blue mana.
No, what would be broken is if you could do it for 1.
There are counter spells that you can do it for 1, but that's usually not a hard counter. It's situational. Hard counter means it can counter anything unless it itself gets countered. Soft counters are things like Mana Leak, where if you can pay an additional 3 colorless, you can counter the counter spell. But yeah, I'd have to say Counterspell is my favorite card in general, aside from Planeswalkers.
So you know that ever since I heard about you wanting to create your Esper Super Friends, and you have, I really want to make my goddamn Legion of Doom, and I need to know what combination you think would be good. Now remember, Chandra has to be in the team, or it's not happening.
You're
just saying.
My
obsession with this pyromancer will never disintegrate. Just saying.
I've told you this before. It needs to be red, white, and black. Red, you have Chandra. If you're just talking standard Planeswalkers, you have Chandra and Sarkhan. For the red, white and black, you have Sorin and Liliana. Nicol Bolas.
Well,
he's colorless. No, Bullet. Current Planeswalkers.
Okay, so Ugin.
Ugin, which is 8 colorless, and you have Elspeth for mono white. Elspeth's rotating out soon, so people are just gonna throw a party when she goes away. Trust me. But yes, red, black, and white is what you should probably be running.
I'm throwing a party when Ashiok goes away.
That's what they said about Geist of St. Trey.
It's still true to this day.
There were parties thrown when he went away.
Wendy, do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
You've been quiet almost this whole damn time.
No, I haven't.
With the exception of actually having a question being asked to you, you just sit there and you stare at Matt like.
Usually I was supposed to be the quiet one, not you.
So, alright, this portion of the podcast is going to be coming to an end, but what I'm going to be doing over this weekend is I'm also going to be filming with my phone, so you are going to get to see my guests, and hopefully I will be able to mix this together into an actual full-on podcast. So, stay tuned after this, and I wanted to thank everybody for listening. I'm sorry this is a complete geek out on Magic the Gathering. If it's not your deal, that's fine. But if you did like this video and the preceding video after it, please subscribe, hit like, or follow me on Facebook. And you can also follow me on Twitter at ColeSpire. And have a good night, everybody. Do you guys want to say goodbye?
No.
Bye.
Later.
Unleash the cackler!
Of course he would.
And the cacklers have been unleashed.
Always.
And this is Magic Players at 5:30 in the morning. Brockus, say hello to the people who are watching the video.
Y'all want to see my penis? No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Like I said, Magic Players at 5:30 in the morning. Doesn't matter if it's midnight, 6 a.m., 6 p.m. We're all a bunch of jokers.
Yeah. Well, I'm more of like a Bane, but yeah.
No, you're not. We can understand what you're saying.
Go fuck yourself.
Cody, wave. We are just getting up. I've been up since 5. I just woke these guys up, and we will be leaving in about a half hour.
Technically, I have been subconsciously sleeping this entire time. I'm actually going to sleep. Sort of.
So he's been awake this entire time.
Half awake, half asleep. That's what's going on with my brain. Don't be surprised if I'm like ridiculously loopy later. You know, it's like, hey man, what's going on? Oh my god, I'm so fucking high right now.
All right. We will check in later. We are very, very early. This will be filled with Magic Players soon. Cody is finally awake. Wendy is awake. And our other 2 compatriots are off smoking. We have registered. And now we are about to write down our deck list. Brock has picked up a Hero's Downfall for his deck. They sell cards, tons and tons of cards. Registration is over there. As you can see, they are expecting a lot of people. And over there is featured matches. And commentary is way over there. They get to watch it live stream. So, do you hope to be in a featured match?
I would like to. Preferably not losing them.
Not losing at a featured match. Brockus, do you want to be in a featured match?
What's a featured match?
You're filmed and people get to watch you online.
Oh, that's not a good thing, because I say horrible things when I'm playing.
They can't hear you.
Oh, then
They
yeah.
just show your hand, like your...
Okay.
And we have lost Cody. I don't know where Cody is.
Cody disappeared.
Oh, Squirrel Face! And this is our Star City Games Squirrel Storm mat. We just picked it up. And I'm not getting any help here, so they're just watching me do it one-handed.
It's more fun that
Could
way.
have said something, and that would have moved a lot faster.
And the Star City Games Fish and Worm. Look, he's using humans as bait. It's cute and adorable.
So cute.
So we picked those up,
Pretty much
and we're getting ready to fill out our deck list. Basically what you got to do is you take your deck list, you write it down, and you got to turn it in. And if you do make it into top 8, you get to look at your opponent's deck list. You get to know what they have in their hand. Or not their hand, but in their deck, so there's not too many surprises. So, yay. Confidence, Brockus, confidence.
Oh, I have all the confidence in the
Hey,
world.
hey.
I'm gonna destroy people's shit. No, I'm gonna wreck people's shit. I'm pushing shit into them. But getting to top 8, that's a stretch. I hardly ever. Oh, I should have worn my Dick Grayson T-shirt today. Somebody else is doing it.
What are you wearing? Look at that.
Lantern Corps.
Red Lantern Corps. And Wendy is not wearing anything comic book wise.
I am not.
And then Garth over there, who was not in the podcast last night, but we will forgive him for it, is wearing Captain America. Kind of looks like Chris Evans, only like half the size.
Seriously, the two of us, like, we're poor man Chris Pratt and Chris Evans right here. That's what we are. We can do a fan film about it.
Wave at the people, Garth.
Wave to the people. Huh?
Wave at the people. Alright, let's get this deck list written down. So, as you can see, more people have come in. I don't think it's actually the 800 that they thought they were going to get. But, you know, this is what it is. So, how many people do you think are here as you stuff your face with Raisinets?
Raisinets better pay you for the video.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I didn't hit you with a rim.
Jesus Christ,
But you hit me on the phone so
much
much that the very next day it hurts. And I forget why it hurts because I forget you punched me.
Hey.
So,
Blame Eric.
huh?
It says blame Eric.
Yeah, fuck Eric. Yeah, fuck that guy. How was it hanging out with ATM machine? ATM machine? Yeah. ATM gives you money.
Cody, how many people do you think are here?
Why? What was the 100? Probably hanging out with the famous guy.
I said 5 or 6.
5 or 6, 6 or 7. I would say Brockus.
What?
Estimate, how many people do you think are here?
Approximately 115 people.
Okay, well, that's
115 people. That's not 115 people. But, you know,
What?
115.
There are still so many fucking seats available at every one of these tables.
No,
These
it's not
tables
115.
are. Why would you think that it's not 115? Because there's still a lot of people outside.
Look, you got 6, you got maybe 8 on each side.
Stop counting the fat guys as like
No, I'm saying
there's 2 people.
Listen,
They are one entity.
hold on. You got maybe like 8 people on
Just
one
because
side.
they need 2 chairs to sit down comfortably.
So maybe 16
because
a table.
their ass is so wide that they actually need 2 seats on a
16
plane.
times 10 for 1 row.
I'm tired of these motherfucking fat guys on this motherfucking plane. This is what I am saying right now.
4 rows?
There's still plenty of tables.
I'm saying,
this can house 800 people.
No, I'm
Think
saying
about that.
right now there's 150 times 4.
We have 1/8 of the amount of people that are going to be here.
This is why I continue to record. Last call.
Yeah.
If you would like to play as a standard open and you have not yet registered, you need to be making your way to the stage right now to get registered.
I'm still recording.
Last call for standard open registration.
Why not?
If I get enough.
All right, that was last call. We will be starting round 1 shortly. What's going to be happening is they're going to collect our deck lists, which are right there. They're going to give us some rules and regulations. One of them would be not beating the other players. And then we'll get into round 1. So I will be reporting after that.
Oh, great.
All right, everybody, we are back for the third part of this podcast. This is going to be a long one. Unfortunately, Brockus and Cody are not with us. Wendy is.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the tournament this weekend. I'm going to ask Wendy first, and then I'll talk about how I did. Wendy, how did you do?
Well, I did pretty bad. I went 0-5. I quit after 5th round. I was just like, nope, I'm dropping.
So 0-5.
Yeah.
Was there anything you found that was wrong, or?
It seemed like Sultai was not the deck to bring. There was a lot of decks that just either were too fast or they had all of the counters and right answers. So it didn't end up working out.
So I'm not going to say I fared any better. I went and I won 2 games and then proceeded to get my butt handed to me 4 others, and then I dropped. So I did last round 6. Brockus went 0-6, and Cody did the best out of all of us with 3-4, and then he dropped because he wanted to play Commander and do some other stuff. Out of your matches that you lost, were there any interesting decks that you came across? Any interesting things that happened?
There wasn't anything that really stuck out. I mean, I played Dimir blue-black control, which just is loaded with counters and destruction and 4 vaults, and it just had all of the answers. So it was ultimately better than most other control decks. And I mean, depending on the player, some players didn't do it as well. But basically, I went to almost turns every single game because it was so drawn out, except for the red-green monsters. That was pretty fast. I got demolished. But I played Dimir, red-green aggro, Dimir, blue-white, or blue-white, Dimir, blue-white. Yeah.
So you pretty much saw the exact same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I was pretty much used to the blue-white aggro because it is exactly the one that Cody was playing, and I'm used to playing testing against it, but there was just no way to get control. Like, my deck just hated me the entire time.
Well, I did come across an interesting deck. So, at a big tournament, you usually want to bring your A game, which, of course, we thought we had. but we're also dealing with 600 plus players, so they all want to bring their A game as well. I played against a guy named Traff, like traffic minus the IC, and he handed me a deck that was just massive. And I made the joke, are we playing Commander? Which is a 100 card deck. It's pretty big. And he said, yes. I was like, okay. He was playing a 100 card, 5 color deck. To say that is odd is an understatement. But I will say this, it was the most challenging deck I went up against, because I had no idea what he was going to bring to the table.
I can't imagine he'd pull off combos very well, though.
Alright, it wasn't the hardest match. I pretty much ran him over, but it was the most fun and it was the most interesting. And he was very lighthearted about it, and the reason that he said that he had such an odd deck is he wanted to be the guy. He didn't care if he won. He wanted to be the guy that people remembered playing.
Which I guess he accomplished.
Yeah. He was flipping over cards that I had never seen anybody actually use mainboarded. So the deck was quite interesting. Now, with any fandom, there are different types of Magic players. You have your pros, you have your grinders, which Wendy and I are. We go to F&Ms and we play a lot of tournaments that are, home tournaments and stuff like that. And in those two, and then there's casual players and modern players and so on and so forth. In those archetypes, there are different types of players. Now, this was a large convention center in a convention area. And when you have something happen to you, or you think something is wrong, you call for a judge. She's laughing because she knows what I'm going to bring up. There is a player known to us, and we've met this person, and he used to come to our store to game. He's a jerk. Douche. Now, he's not a good player at all.
He likes to think so.
He thinks very highly of himself. So, because he's not a good player, how he wins is he gets under your skin. Last year when I went to this tournament, I had to play a game next to him, and I watched this happen. He pissed off his opponent so much that when you go into this game, you get a slip of paper that you write down at best at 2 out of 3, how many wins you got, how many wins the other person got, and you sign it. During the game, he had pissed his opponent off so much that he was shaking. He was getting that agitated. So I don't feel bad about putting him on blast or saying what his name is. His name is Zach. He took the slip of paper, tossed it at his opponent, and said, if you want to concede right now and give me the 2-0 victory, we can do that. The opponent said, no, I'm going to kick your ass, and then proceeded to beat him 2-0.
I doubt he's going to listen to this anyway.
I don't care. If he does, he does. What he does is when he's playing against you, he wants to get under your skin. So anything you don't do that's a normal given. Now, when people play Magic and they've played it for a long time, there are certain steps that you do not announce. It's just a given that it happens. If you do not announce every step, not only does he call judge, but he launches his hand into the air and screams it as loud as he can so he can intimidate you. And it's to get under your skin. It's to scare you. It's to make you feel like you've done something wrong. So then when the judge comes over and says, no, that's okay, you're on guard. How many times did we hear him scream for a judge?
At least 3 times around.
3 times. So imagine playing this person and you have him scream for a judge.
His like a couple of fanboys would whistle or cheer him on. Everybody else just kind of went ugh, like the entire time, and then like there'd be a murmur of God, what a jerk.
Think about that. People from all over Southern California and all over the state know who he is because of his assholishness. That's impressive. Did you run into anybody playing that was like that? I don't mean him specifically, because I know he played. We only heard it 3 times around for 3 rounds because he dropped after the 3rd round because he's that bad of a player. Did you run into any jerks or people?
No, most everybody I talked to was nice. There was like one guy who just was like, yeah, and then he would just nod, and he wouldn't be like talking. He was just too serious. But most everybody was pretty casual. They didn't mind laughing or talking. I mean, I had played one kid who said he was from Arizona. He came with a few of his friends, and he was very young, but he was very talkative and nice, and he didn't mind. They just came there for fun, basically. And then there was a couple of other people who I talked to who asked me straight at first, asking where I was from, and one of the guys was from like Orange County, and the other guy was like, yeah, it only took me like an hour to get here, or a couple minutes. Yeah, one of the guys said he lived 15 minutes away. He was planning on going home between rounds. He wanted to go home and eat, and then he was like, oh yeah, that doesn't work.
I feel bad for the guy who lives in LA.
Yeah.
That's how the game is supposed to be. Magic the Gathering is a social game. I only had 1 person out of the 6 rounds that was not talkative. He wasn't a jerk. He just did not look like he was having fun. And at that point, since he was playing me, his deck wasn't doing what he wanted it to do, and he was losing. So I can understand why he was a little frustrated. But you're not supposed to let that affect you. You're supposed to continually... You can't always be happy and bright and cheery if your deck is not doing what it's supposed to and you're losing to people you're not normally used to losing to. And I'm not talking about kids, I'm talking about deck types. Yeah. So I can understand that. It's very disheartening. But the people that I met that were in the losers bracket, which I'm sorry, when you're 2 and 4, that's who you end up with, they're still pretty chipper. Some of them will go and they'll say, I'm going to play out all 9 rounds today just for the Planeswalker points, which is a way that they measure your progress through Wizards of the Coast. So, there are not many people who are jerks. Now, I've met a few, but they're few and far between. Now, one of the coolest things that I have had happen at a big tournament happened this time. I actually brought money this time. I didn't last time. And we were able to get some really good deals that I wasn't expecting on getting. On playmats, on sleeves, on boxes.
Very true.
And these are good quality. They produce a good quality product. Well, at these big tournaments, there are pros, and these people are people who play Magic constantly. Like I said, Wendy and I are grinders. So let's say Wendy and I play 100 games in a month. The pros play like 2,000 games in a month. They know this game inside and out. Most of them don't think of themselves as pros. They think of themselves as players. And I had been following on YouTube and Twitch a player by the name of Joe Lissette. And I knew he was going to be at the LA Open but I did not think I was going to see him. I know it's weird, but some of them, they like don't show up until round 3 because they get 2 buys automatically and because of points that they have. Well, he was there. And I pointed him out to Wendy and instantly said, I'm going to go ask for his autograph.
He's like, look, he's here.
Thank you. So he was talking to somebody when we walked up to him. And Cody didn't even know who the hell he was, but he was going to go get the dude's autograph anyway. So we go up to him, and he's talking to somebody, and I say, I've been watching you for a while. I really enjoy watching you play. I hope I'm not being too forward, but I'd like to ask for your autograph, and if you could sign my playmat. He was like, yeah, sure. So I hand him a pen. He's like, well, do you have like a marker or a Sharpie or something? I had to go to Star City Games where they're selling the cards and ask for a Sharpie. They wanted collateral for a Sharpie. So the collateral I had to give up was my backpack that had everything in it. Just to get an autograph that took 30 seconds. But I did get to talk to him for a little bit, and he was a very nice guy.
And we had to make it really fast because the next round was starting. And we were like, here, please, can you sign these 3 playmats? And he's like, yeah, sure. No problem. And he was really cool about it.
And he didn't just sign the playmats. He actually made little notations on them.
All of them said the same thing, too.
Yeah. And Cody's playmat he actually really liked. I have the playmat in front of me right now. And what a playmat is, if you don't know, it's a fabric mat that you put your cards on when you play to keep them from getting dirty from the tables and things like that. It says Misseltech approved playmat, Joe Lissette. What that means is it's a worm, WURM. Think of giant, big scaled worms.
Oh, I thought I said Miracle Tech.
No, Misseltech. It's actually kind of it was what they were saying when Star City Games came out with the pin and the token for this. So, but again, a really nice guy. He didn't win. He didn't even place top 8, but I do believe he got top 16. So this was a really good experience, even though it was a failure. Now, Wendy, what did you do after you dropped?
Oh, I went and I entered. It was the commander. It was only $5. The person who wins first place gets like $20 store credit at Star City Games there. Unfortunately, this guy had this broken, ridiculous deck. He was borrowing from a friend. And
that's another thing. 2 of the people I played that were in the main tournament borrowed, and I'm using air quotes since you can't see me doing it, borrowed decks from their friends. I wanted to punch them.
Well, he had these broken, ridiculous combos. Like, in the end, like, he had a lot of counters, so he was just like, counter, destroy this, and all that. So, like, basically, he made it so we couldn't do anything until he could play his broken-ass cards. And then, I had a final judgment in my hand, but it wouldn't have mattered, because the way his combo out is he had Avenger of Zendikar with, like 11 1/1 tokens. He had this other card that could repeat the abilities of any card basically on the battlefield, I think. And he had one card that was like you could sack it to counter a creature or something. And then he had Prophet of Crucifix and a whole bunch of other shit out too. So like he could basically counter for days with what he had out. And there was nothing any of us could do, so we all just kind of collectively scooped.
To let you know, Commander is a multiplayer game, not just one-on-one.
It was 4 people.
It's 4 people, and it's chaos. You go after anybody you want. And Commander, believe it or not, is very political.
Oh, yeah.
One person starts to become the threat, and if they can't convince the other players to save them, they're usually the first ones out. So the people who are really good at convincing people to help them are usually the winners. After I dropped, I went and drafted. What a draft is you get 3 packs. When you start, you play with 8 people. You open the pack, you take the best card that you want, and then you pass it to the person next to you, and then they pass you a pack and you draw it until the pack is gone. Then you open the second one, you go the opposite direction, and you repeat. If I were to take from the draft about the people I was drafting with, I would have had a bad time just by assuming the way that they were while we were drafting. No one said a word. I tried starting a conversation, nothing doing. When we started playing, it was a different story. The guy I started playing with was actually very nice, and we both had a really good time playing, and he ended up going to the next round for the win. It was an elimination tournament. I didn't know that, or else I probably would have done something else. I don't like the elimination stuff. I like being able to continue on and get my money's worth. Right. But I also started to... We found a lot of our friends there, and we hung out with people that we'd been playing with before. It was a really nice tournament. What is your experience? What did you take from it? How do you feel about going to this big tournament?
Unfortunately, I do think when you go to a big tournament like that, you have to either A, be prepared for all of the winning decks from big open tournaments, and have some kind of variation of what somebody's playing, or take the winning deck and try to beat the odds.
Well,
that's how it felt to me. I mean, it was completely different from Friday Night Magic. I mean, Friday Night Magic, I was winning. I was doing good. I was going 3-1 average, at least.
Well, but I'm glad you brought that up. There is a different feel from grinding a weekly tournament to a big tournament. Grinding a weekly tournament, a lot of people take decks that they don't normally take to FNM, or that they normally wouldn't take to a big tournament, to try things out, do things differently. A big tournament, they're there to win. So they want to take that deck that is going to get them that win.
Right.
I don't necessarily agree that you have to take a deck that's a winning deck in the meta. The reason I say this is because there are decks that are always that Maverick deck that people aren't expecting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to take something that's, like, even if it's a Maverick deck, you got to take something that, you know, people aren't going to be prepared for, but you are prepared for theirs.
Yeah. And as for right now, the winning deck isn't really the winning deck. There are many winning decks. So, you know, it does a lot with matchups. Like I was talking to you afterwards, if I would have gotten the matchups that you would have gotten, I would have done a lot better, and I think you would have done a lot better. I saw the same deck 3 out of the 4 times I lost. It gets boring. But the most important thing is, did you have fun?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you learned something from it, and you got ideas, and I know you were talking about how you're fed up with your deck and you want to try something different.
Right, and at first I was like, well, maybe I should just do blue-black. But I don't want to just do what everybody else is doing, and that's the problem.
Which I agree. But, you know, we can work on that and see what else. I'm going to stick with mine. I changed mine around already. I like mine. It's fun. And I don't have many videos like I thought I was going to. My phone's battery just decided to crash on me. Like even charging it in between rounds was not enough. It even died on the way home. So that would have been fun if we actually got, you know, an accident or something. I can't call anybody. So I apologize for that. I'm going to try and splice this all together. This is going to be a really long video. I may put it into 2 different parts. I may put it all together. And if you are a Magic fan and you have made it this far, thank you very much. My name is Cole Spire.
Wendy.
And Wendy Clark. And I want to thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, share this with your friends. You get nothing but honest opinions from me, and I try not to be hypocritical about things. After this, I promise a game review is coming up. I keep promising that, and I'm going to promise it again. So I will see you guys next time on Help for the Guildless, and have a good night, everybody.